Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to the March movie night for 15 centimeters per second. Sorry this is coming so late this month. Just haven't been able to get to it before now. But I did find out that apparently this movie is actually pretty short. It's only an hour long, so that's interesting. But yeah, otherwise I know nothing about this movie. I think it's a love story, but that's pretty much it. All I know is it's an anime movie that I've wanted to see for a while just because of the hype surrounding it. Um, so yeah, this film, um, this film has a lot of hype around it. And I don't know why. It's one of those big anime films. Let's put it that way. Up there with like the kinds of Your Names and Silent Voices. This is one of those. So we're going to see exactly how good it is today. Now, before we begin, I will also say that we're going to start doing something a little differently with movie polls. So during the reaction, we are going to in the afterthoughts, we are going to re-roll the randomizer for the April movie poll because we're doing it differently now, and I want to keep it fair. So we're going to re-roll the randomizer, and from now on, every time we do a movie reaction, we're going to do the randomizer in the afterthoughts for the next one. And then I will post a poll video either the day of or the next day. So either today or tomorrow, there will also be a poll video for the April movie reaction. And it'll just keep it easier. The poll will run probably about a week. And then I'll announce the winner. And sometime during April, the next movie reaction will occur. So yeah. It's just an easier way to keep it done. I know some of you were probably looking forward to what was going to be on the next poll for voting and everything. Because if you remember, the poll was originally going to be Ice Dragon, the Death of Superman, Reign of Superman double set, April in the Extraordinary World, Princess from Up on Poppy Hill, and Resident Evil Damnation. Those were the original 6 for the poll before, but we're going to actually be changing it up again. I do apologize for that, but I want to keep it fair, and I want to make sure that I get into this new style of doing the movie poll stuff in the right way. You know what I mean? So this is how it's going to be, and I'm going to be doing the same for like the cartoon and anime reactions on Wednesdays whenever I finish a series or drop it or whatever. In that video, I'll randomize the new set and then put up a poll video. So it's just easier and it makes it more organized in my view. But yeah, as for this movie, like I said, I know pretty much nothing. I just know it's really hyped. I know people really love it. I'm excited to see it, though. I've been wanting to see it, and I thought it was going to be more like an hour and a half. I didn't think it was going to be this short. Oh, well. Hopefully it's still good either way. Hopefully I still enjoy it. And we'll see what it's like. It's about the length of 3 episodes of a show. So, I mean, I guess that's fine, but again, I just thought it'd be longer. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I don't really know what else to say, so we're just going to get this going. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie, rather. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this was 5 centimeters per second, really popular, really well-beloved anime film. And I'm going to once again give the unpopular opinion. Once again, I'm going to have to unfortunately be the one who didn't like this. And I hate being that person. Like, I hated it. I hate it every time this happens, with no matter what it is. Um, I hate it when I don't like something. But I didn't like this. Okay, let me go over the main reasons why. Reason one, I found it extremely boring. Like, I have no issue with shows or movies having long atmospheric shots and some quiet moments and reflective stuff and all that. But I found the presentation of the story, the pacing of it all, really fucking boring. Like, I was checking the time in the first of these three episodes. I was checking the time because I was wondering if it was getting close to ending. I was that just bored by how it was presented. Second reason, it had a completely 100% unsatisfying conclusion. I understand that sometimes that this kind of thing is realistic. These two who could be in love when they were young and everything end up getting separated through means outside of their control, and they end up just kind of moving on with their lives and living otherwise. The thing, though, is that in what is clearly meant to be a romantic story, that is a completely unsatisfying ending. To have Akari marrying someone else, to have Tono longing after her to the point where it made him depressed and caused him to quit his job, to just kind of leave it off at that and just kind of have him look back at the train tracks and smile and all, it's like, that's not satisfying. That's not enough. That's not a good ending. Again, it may have some sense of realism, but in terms of a story, in terms of a romantic story, it's not a good ending. Because basically, all this amounted to was nothing. It's like this movie's trying to get you to care for these two characters. It's trying to get you to care for their love story. But then it just slaps you in the face by having nothing come of it. There is no satisfactory conclusion at all. The third issue I had with it was the fact that it was separated into three episodes. I felt that was unnecessary, and it felt really disjointed because of it. And in a way, it also kind of felt, you could say, immersion breaking. Like, I didn't realize until the third story that the second story was about the same character. I didn't realize that the guy was the same guy. Because at that point, because it went into a different episode, I thought that it was a completely different person. I thought that they were focusing on some different story that was going to have some kind of connection with the first. That each of these stories were going to connect in a meaningful way. But instead, by having it segmented in this manner, like they could have made a story. They could have made a movie where that shows these characters through their lives and how things change for them and all. That's fine, but specifically segmenting it like that, in the way that they did, made it just completely immersion breaking. It took me out of the story twice and just made me lose interest twice. It's like, again, since I didn't know that they were all connected, they were all the same groups of people until the third story, there were 2 points there that I completely thought the story was finished. I thought it was going to be like this series of shorts, again, that all centered around these themes of love and loss. And if that were the case, that would have been much better. But by having them all center around the same characters, the same 2 characters, it feels completely off. Now, the characters themselves, Tono is completely boring. I have absolutely no interest in him as a character. He shows the most character in the first of the 3 episodes, but after that he's just kind of blah. And Akari, honestly, you barely see her. Like, you see a bit of her at the end of near the end of the first episode. She's not in the second episode at all. And in the third episode, she's basically an afterthought. She's shown like once and then shown through a couple little montage clips, and that's pretty much it. All 3 of these stories focus more on Tono as a character. He's the main character, and he's not a likable main character. He's not unlikable. He's not. It's like you don't hate him, but there's not really much of anything to him to like. He's so bland. He is just extremely bland. And the other characters we see throughout this, Kaede or whatever her name was, the girl in the second one, she was the most likable character in this, and she got the bad ending. She liked Tono very heavily, and she basically came to realize that he didn't even see her, basically, as she said. He just didn't even consider her, because his thoughts were always on Akari. I mean, not completely known to Kaede, but still. And the fact that it ends, her story ends with her crying herself to sleep and shit, it's like, that's the saddest part of this. I connected more with her as a character than either of our main leads. I cared more about her story. I would have rather seen her end up with Tono in the end of that. At least then there would have been some kind of positive end to her story. Like, it's I don't know, just, I wanted to see something good happen to her, and it's like, she's the one who you care about, at least for me, and the one who gets the bad ending. Akari is getting married to someone else, and Tono apparently, from what it seems, comes to just accept the way things are. And I just was not into this story. I will acknowledge that the art style, the animation, the voice acting, all of that phenomenal. The sound design, the score, all of that was phenomenal. But the story and characters are more important. And that's a problem with a lot of these big anime movies, I feel. They tend to focus on the art and animation, on the soundtrack, on the voice acting, too much. Like, you see all of these different movies. You see Your Name. You see, what's it called? Silent Voice. You see even Boy and the Beast. And you clearly can tell that the animation, the art and animation is what they focused on. And the story and characters were kind of felt like an afterthought. Now, I'm not saying that those movies are bad. Not at all. I'm just saying that that a lot of these anime movies, these solo anime movies that aren't connected to anything else, they just feel way too much like the story and characters are an afterthought, and that was most apparent in this one. It feels like the story and characters were put in there to service the art and animation rather than the other way around. At least with Boy and the Beast, the art and animation felt like it was servicing the story and the characters. Same with Your Name and Silent Voice. Even though it did seem like those were almost an afterthought, it did still seem like they were put there for the sake of the story and characters. This, it feels like the complete opposite. It feels like the story and characters were only created last minute to give a reason to have this animation. And it just, that bothers me very much. I'm not going to use the entire thing about Tono going off on his own at 13 years old as a legitimate complaint, because that might just admittedly be a cultural thing. Here in America, just the idea of a 13-year-old traveling for hours and hours, miles and miles alone, at night even, at one point, to meet with a friend who lives far, far away. Yeah, that would not fly here. That would not fly here. Um, but that might be a cultural thing, so I'm not going to use that as a legitimate complaint. But yeah, it's just, in general, I think the biggest complaint is I didn't enjoy this. I just didn't enjoy it. The story, the characters, I found nothing to really enjoy, to like. Again, I didn't hate it or anything, um, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the characters. Again, except for Kaede or whatever her name is. I didn't like the story and the way it was segmented. I thought it was. I just thought it was extremely poorly handled. And the way it, again, the way it ends is so lacking in satisfaction. It feels like you feel cheated. You feel cheated watching this and finding out that all of these stories are about the same characters, and then nothing coming of it in the end. You feel cheated. It is not satisfactory. It is not. It is not a good ending. So I do apologize for that, but I didn't like this movie. I have a hard time even calling it a movie just because of the way it was segmented. But either way, that is just my opinion. I do want to hear yours, so tell me what you thought of 5 centimeters per second in the comments below. But either way, we are now going to go into randomizing the new movie poll. The poll video will probably be up again either today or tomorrow, but we are going to do the randomizer right now to determine what will be on that poll. And again, we did do a randomizer for the April poll before, but we're redoing it just to make it fair and to show you how this new style of doing this is going to go. The randomizer will always be in the movie reactions afterthoughts, and then the poll will be put up either the day of or the next day. And then so on and so forth, going from there. And in about a week, I'll announce the winner. So let's get that up after I just move this over here. I'll move it over to this side this time. Come on. Window capture. There we go. Okay, gonna shrink this down, if it'll let me. So yeah, we use this list randomizer website. We've gone through all of these before. Nothing's really changed that much on the list. So, not really a huge reason to go through it again. Yeah, I'll just quickly scroll through if you want to pause it and check all of the entries. Okay. So that is our entries. And it is time to run the poll. So we scroll down. As you can see, there's the randomize option on the bottom. And we just click this. And whichever 6 options are at the top of the randomized list are the ones that will be on the poll. Okay, so our poll for the April movie reaction will be Doctor Strange, the animated Doctor Strange movie, by the way, Resident Evil Vendetta, Perfect Blue, Saint Young Men, Long Way North, and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Okay, so Doctor Strange, I mean, obviously it's an origin story, an animated origin story for the Doctor Strange character from the Marvel Comics. Resident Evil Vendetta is one of the animated Resident Evil movies. That's pretty much all I know about it. Perfect Blue is a really popular, supposedly, from what I've heard, a mindfuck anime movie, so that interests me. Saint Young Men is about apparently Jesus and the Buddha living together as roommates in like modern day Japan or something like that. And it just sounds hilarious and stupid, but in a fun way. Long Way North, I don't actually remember what that was. I put it on this list because either someone suggested it to me or I had heard about it before or whatnot, but I actually don't remember what that was. So maybe that's a good thing. I can look up the very basic synopsis, but I'll do that later. And The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, which is another anime movie. I don't know if it's actually about time travel or not, but it's something another one that's been very widely praised, and hopefully it's better than this one, at least in my thoughts. So yeah, that's going to be on the poll. Once again, I will make a separate poll video for that, and that'll be posted either today or tomorrow. And so you'll be able to vote on which of these movies you'd like to see me react to the most. So in the meantime, thank you all so much for tuning in. And once again, tell me your thoughts on 5 centimeters per second down in the comments below. Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Or did you find issues with it like I did? Tell me your thoughts, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,